Transmissions.
All right, guys. Thank you for coming on the show today. Welcome to Abstract Transmissions. Today on the show, we've got Scott McMullen, Roadkill from WHEB.
Hello.
And Randy Wilson. They're both in a band as well. You may know They Look Human and formerly of Flood This Earth. Thanks for coming on today, guys.
Absolutely.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah. So this is a couple episodes in. This is new to us. It's really just getting everybody together to have conversation.
Hang
I
out,
feel like there's a lot
relax.
of not conversation going on out there right now, you know.
In a world that is so we can talk very easy, we don't talk. We don't talk anymore.
There's no real conversation. It's shouting. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, everybody's just waiting for their turn to speak.
Or get their way. Either way. Yeah.
Valid point.
I'm right, you're wrong.
That's it, you know.
We live in a time now where this past week people weren't happy with Game of Thrones, so they put a
Let's
petition
discuss.
out and they say, "I want you to redo it." Life doesn't work that way.
No.
So for anybody here, we're all caught up. Yeah, we're probably going to go into some spoilers as if you haven't seen it, too bad for you folks.
I
we have to address
watched
this.
season 1 and was like, yeah, no,
Okay,
I'm good.
so
I've seen one episode in 2012, I think.
I absolutely love the story, but I think obviously as time went on, there was some adaptation that had to happen because they didn't write it coinciding with what R.R. Martin
Yes.
put together.
Yeah.
And of course you kind of the retconning, like he said, there's a whole bunch of shit that you kind of have to factor in. That you can't please everybody, but for doing that based for TV, I feel like they did a really good job wrapping it up.
mean,
I know character development kind of, I don't know.
I enjoyed it, but they played it safe. I feel like once the episode was over, they played it safe. We lost somebody, and then after that, it's like you almost felt like the way they ended it, that if their careers fail, they can come back and do a second run. What happens to so-and-so? I don't want to give too much away, but like this character, you see sailing off, you're like, oh, well, maybe we could follow her, or we could go back to, this person. And they played it very safe.
I guess they've already confirmed prequel series and a spin-off of some character, I guess.
Well,
I
so
read
like
a
a
little
Fire
bit
and
about
Blood kind of
wow.
thing.
Yeah.
I mean, the Targaryens is fascinating.
But we'll see if you can catch lightning in a bottle for a second time.
You can't.
Yeah.
Usually. I mean, that's the proof with some, well, I shouldn't say sequels, because look at Aliens, I mean, there's some good specific gems that come through as sequels that are really great.
They're talking
Or
about
spin-offs, reboots.
pumping out a couple more of those now, too. Disney's in talks for some more alien movies.
I'd be for
Wait,
that.
who is in top?
Disney, believe it or
Because
not.
they own it. Yeah, because they own
it.
Fox properties now, right?
Oh, wow.
I guess
I'd
they
check
used to
that
be on
out.
the
That'd be
microphone.
interesting.
Yeah, Disney made Alien film.
It's topsy-turvy world.
I don't know, man. I'm like, it is a topsy-turvy world
Mickey Mouse
in
comes
which
out.
Disney owns everything. The parasite that he truly fucking is.
There's logos everywhere. Alien burst out. Disney.
Seriously, I mean, it was only a matter of time till they bought everything.
Yeah.
They're getting there.
Hey, and it take my fucking money, right? I mean, they got Star Wars and Marvel, and I love all of it, and I will forever. And
Yep.
here it is, shamelessly.
Yep.
Forever Marvel.
Shit. Yeah. Oh, dude, awesome. Yeah. No, I absolutely adore that shit. I mean, it's part of my childhood. It embodies so much.
And we live in a time now where we aren't afraid to admit that was part of our childhood. We were joking at work talking about how Game of Thrones made D&D and all that stuff cool. But when you were growing up and doing it, you were getting the shit beat out of you.
Yeah, exactly.
You hid your dice.
Nerd.
You didn't.
That's right.
There was no way
wasn't cool to
that
be,
it wasn't cool, and now it's cool.
MTG
and,
was not
yeah.
a thing that you were like, oh, it's cool that I play Magic the Gathering, so you're a piece of shit. And still, a lot of
Nice Star
aspects
Wars
you still
shirt,
kinda-
nerd.
Yeah.
I'm never wearing it again. And now as adults, we wear it. We're like, it is what it is.
People get
Deal
the
with it.
tattoos and stuff now, Like,
Yeah,
Get a Walmart.
that's right.
It's just it's so commonplace now that nobody even gives a shit anymore, But I think that's the thing. It's become so over marketed that people are getting sick of it, and then you have people that are so upset about things like The Last Jedi. Which, look, man,
again,
look at it. If you look at the first part of that new trilogy, Force Awakens, and how they just redid basically the first Star Wars. And then Rian Johnson's like, I don't want to do that. I want to do something that is like Empire, that breaks the mold and then makes people go, ooh, what the that was I didn't expect that at all. Yeah. And he did that though. And I feel like that if that's how you can relate to it, I think that becomes kind of a comparable. For me, at least, that's what I liked about it. But I've always been kind of a bitch about it. I really am obsessed with Star Wars, and I'll make it fit the narrative just so I can continue liking it, right? So the prequels, everybody's like, it's all new and it doesn't work because the old ones were, sharp. And I'm like, no, see, that's what happened. I fit this to the mold perfectly. I'm like, no, listen, the Empire took over and it ruined everything, became blocky because it's just bullshit that I want to make work out. But in my head, it's like, yep, fucking, just, Santa's real, fucking, absolutely.
Well, to me, I like a good sci-fi movie. So I went and saw a good sci-fi movie. It may have been not the typical Star Wars movie, but that's like me.
I take them for what they are.
It's a good sci-fi movie, and I enjoyed it. So it took me away from my life. And if it's Star Wars, it's going to be done well. It's not going to be like the old Doctor Who episodes where it's tinfoil and you know that's a plunger, and you're like, hey, but it's done well and it's a good sci-fi movie.
Yeah, no, it is, and I mean it's an epic one over this generational aspect, which I think is huge, and it still begs to differ where it takes place. It begs to, they ask, where does it take place? In a galaxy far away. You know what I mean? A long time ago. And it's like that whole concept of other civilizations existing and then dying out before this one even existed. I think that painted something else completely in my mind.
Absolutely.
Mind-blowing, is the whole opening your concept to the idea of aliens.
That's the reason I actually watched it in 2014.
First time.
For the first time, I watched
He had never seen it until... Oh, yeah, exactly. Oh, you have no idea. We've been friends since I was 15 years old, man. Bands since...
You guys are all discussing, like dude, you gotta watch the newer ones first, and then holy shit, it's like a blank page.
Yeah. Because it's funny because, like my son has watched them in that order, and he doesn't see it differently. He doesn't notice the retro aspect. Because they did such, whether you like it or not, a good job with the CGI to, basically bastardize it or improve it, however you want to look at it. Han shot first.
That's kind of cool, though. Like,
Han shot first,
look.
for the record.
What's that?
Han shot first. I'm gonna, he's a scumbag. I don't care. I love him for it.
That's what we like about him.
Yeah, that's it,
Out of all of them, I'd say Solo was probably my least favorite. Didn't enjoy it. Couldn't really get into it.
What? I feel the same way, but I actually liked it quite a bit. And I was not at all impressed with Han Solo's acting. It was the rest of the cast that carried that fucking movie.
Harrison Ford is cool.
Yeah,
He's cool. There's a vibe that comes about him. Now, in the new one, the guy who played Han, is not cool, but the guy who played Lando is cool.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
He's learning. It's a true origin story.
No, exactly.
I'm just kidding. I'm making it fit. Because it's really just bullshit. Disney wanted to cash grab, and I was like, here you go again.
Awesome.
Run the whole square pig.
That's right. Break into the old piggy bank again.
Yeah. We'll keep drinking the punch.
Yeah. Oh, fucking absolutely. And they said a Star Wars movie once for forever. I'm like, okay, I believe it too. Once a year for the rest of forever, as long as this little civilization seems to exist on the rock. They're going to keep pumping those movies out until it doesn't make money.
Cash money,
One of the two. Eventually they'll bleed that.
Well, Solo didn't, so they're done with that. I read that they're possibly done with the origin story deal of it, but...
And that sucks, because I was hoping for Boba Fett.
That's okay, so we're on the same page. And I'm really just disappointed to hear that, because I was totally banking on that Boba Fett story, the origin story. I mean, because we all, if we're nerdy enough and we spend the time, and a lot of people read like the retcon stories from, the Tales of the Bounty Hunter and whatnot. He ends up in the Sarlacc pit and then gets free. And I'm just like, dude, if they were to do something like that, holy shit! You know how people would come out of the woodwork?
Oh yeah.
I think they missed the mark doing Solo first, because that would have been
Yeah.
Could have been incredible.
But I feel like there were some really good aspects of it that brought that movie together, that I still got the feeling of like a Dash Rendar kind of feel, which he was always my favorite character, and I always thought would be awesome if they did a Shadows of the Empire, which is what they were going to call one of those, I think The Force Awakens, they were going to call it Shadows of the Empire, and so it's, no, you can't do that because this. And some Yahoo probably at the Disney Chamber was like, guys, I've got an idea. You're fucking dick face. He's just like, he thinks he's fucking won the day, and it was that already existed in 1996. It was a fucking video game and a comic book and a storyline. You dick.
Crawled out of his mom's
it was a
basement,
novel.
schooled everyone, then went back home.
And then went back home to his basement where it fucking belonged. I get really. I'm such a nice person until it comes to Star Wars. I get so angry because it's like all these people get so fucking upset about Star Wars too, and it's like, well, what did you do to contribute to the fucking saga? Like,
I bought the sleeping bag.
That's right.
I bought the sleeping bag. I
had
had
all
it
of our
all.
money, so I guess that's.
I had the toys when they really didn't work right. That's what I had. Okay. Yeah. My X-wing fighter kept losing its wing. That's what I did. My Han Solo did not look like Han at all. My Luke Skywalker's lightsaber did not come out of his arm like it was supposed to. So I paid my dues.
You paid your dues. Yeah. No, that's right. So I get that because merchandising. Oh, they've got us by the balls, and they have for 30 years, and they still now. And you think about all like Kenner, how much money that company probably made, and of course when they released it to Disney, they're just like, it's been good. Here you guys go.
And next week,
the torch.
Next week, Kenner's releasing,
Money.
I think, the top 10 of those. So you're going to have Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, a Stormtrooper, Chewbacca, and they look like the originals. So if you see them, they don't really look like the real characters. So they're they got the original Kenner, got the original molds, and are re-releasing the figures.
Okay.
So
that is too much. Yeah. Cool. All right. Yeah. So I can't believe that they have continued to pump out like all of the excess storyline stuff when they're not going to. But they're still producing stuff that's not considered canon.
Yes.
And it's like, so okay, but why didn't they're just bastardizing that too? So they're saying, oh, this old canon is not canon, but now we've got new canon. And this is
money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But they're in it for the cash.
Fuckers.
That's why you probably have to pay an arm and a leg to go to Disneyland and see Star Wars Land and all that stuff. So
yeah, and they're not even gearing it towards kids.
That's fine. I'm okay with that.
I am too.
Yeah,
I mean because they get it.
I got two teenagers. They're not gonna. They want to go to Harry Potter World. I want to go to Star Wars Land. So
yeah, that's it. Man, absolutely, that's it. We'll just split.
Meet you at the car at 5.
Yep. You come back and there's you're like a Wookiee like bathing suit on. You're just like, don't.
You bought it all because every ride will end at a gift store and you have to buy something.
Sweat blue milk.
It's 120 degrees out and you got a Chewbacca outfit on. I couldn't say no.
Yeah. Right. I went in head first. So it's interesting. We were talking about how that whole concept of getting a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. How, it kind of paints a picture of could other life forms exist outside of our understanding, our realm of existence. So we discussed this a couple of times, Randy. I'd be interested to hear your perspective on this. And obviously, me and Justin have had many, drunken and/or stoned discussions about this.
I do not believe that we are alone.
No.
No. So,
but what's sad is
I visited by them right now.
I always believe that what's sad is that any time that we get proof, it's like the person that is reporting on it or the person that saw it is drunk or really high or
or just totally discredited.
Yeah.
Oh, he got a parking ticket back in 2012, so he's nuts.
And I was really enjoying the Project Blue Book. On history.
I heard that was awesome.
And it was fantastic until they did the episode from New Hampshire because I've had a chance before to talk to Betty Hill.
Yeah.
And they redid like what happened and it wasn't right. for the show. And then I was instantly angry because I'm like,
so-
that's not how
Because I
any
listened
of
to
it
that.
went down.
I mean, you live in
I
New
would've been
Hampshire.
like, what
You
the
grew
hell,
up
man?
listening to that.
Oh, yeah,
It
absolutely.
preached the shit out of you, man.
Oh, yeah.
I've experienced some weird stuff that I haven't been able to understand.
I've
and
had
that-
some weird stuff. My father and I saw a ship in the sky together at the same time. We pulled over. He was driving. It must have been 14, 15. We pulled over and we're both looking at this thing. We're in South Berwick, Maine. It's called Cabbage Hill, this area. Big hill. Not a lot of lights around. And we're watching this thing. It's like 3 lights all moving like a big craft, you know? And where there was darkness, where there was no light, there was no stars in between. So this thing was fucking huge. And it's silent. We're just watching it like go across the sky. We stood out there for maybe 2 or 3 minutes and we're kind of like, you know, maybe we shouldn't be standing out here looking at this thing. So we get in the car and go home. We go home.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, you want to let the dog out? I'm like, no.
No.
I'm not going out there.
Absolutely.
So-
Fuck not. No,
100%.
thank you.
So, you know, all my hairs are standing on end. I go out to let the dog out. I let the dog outside and I look and this thing is flying in the opposite direction. A distance from the house, but still flying. It's like, so in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, they saw us. That's it. Done. I probably
Yeah.
didn't sleep right for a
Yes.
year.
Screw that.
Seriously, it's just...
Never went outside again.
And even like maybe 6 months ago or so, I'm on 125 in Rochester, and there was kind of like a weird light. I didn't really think much of it. I thought it was just a plane or something. It was kind of, you know, winter-ish,
Yeah.
and my car kind of stalled. I'm driving, and all the lights and everything in my car died out for 2-3 seconds. Everything just started right back up. I'm like, ooh. The hell was that? Like, I looked at my clock like immediately. I'm like, what time is it? Holy shit!
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Better
that
not
was
be
just
6
weird,
hours
man.
from now.
Yeah, I know, right?
Fuck.
So just like weird
seriously.
stuff. And my cars are 2012. It's got
So
40,000 miles on it. It's never done that.
I've
It doesn't
always
just
that's-
stall
struggled
and start again. You know.
with
That's-
this
yeah,
whole,
that's a weird thing, definitely.
thing because I've been a skeptic for so long about things that became really hard for me to believe, and then I just had some things that I absolutely could not explain. So I've always been like on the side of like, okay, what's the likelihood of this happening from a scientific perspective? Fermi Paradox and all those things, basically saying that the likelihood of it happening, civilization being able to create themselves without destroying themselves first, but also contacting us at the same time as like you think about like a lights on a Christmas tree blinking on and off, that they have to be on it simultaneously at the same time. It's kind of the same idea with civilization. So that whole concept, but then so I was big into that whole thing. I read like a lot of Sagan. I love everything that I've ever written by him, which is like 2 things, because holy shit, if you ever try to read his books, it's packed full of really interesting science, but some stuff is just really difficult to get through for layman's like myself. And I just found it fascinating, but that whole concept. But all right, so a similar circumstance, which is why I was listening to your story, and I'm just like, fucking weird. It's so similar to the stories that I've heard from other people, which is similar to the story that I experienced, which I couldn't really quite explain. So I'm on my way home. I was probably like 18 or 19, driving back from Somersworth, actually, and from a friend's house. And I was speeding a little bit, but I didn't, think I was going to get pulled over, and I saw blue lights, in my rear view or whatever. And then, excuse me, saw the blue lights, and I'm like, oh shit. I pulled over, and I'm like, I'm going to get pulled over. A car goes right by me. I'm like, okay. I keep going, and and I had seen some lights shortly after that, and then I kept going, and obviously the cop had gone by or whatever, and once I kind of get down there, you can see just kind of rows of lights and a bunch of like slow moving cars, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? And I slow down, and there they are, sure enough, including the cop slowing everybody down on 16. This is probably right between like 8 and 7, I think, that exit. And it was, I don't know, man. It was like nothing I'd ever seen. Those giant lights, and it was huge, and it was just slowly moving like a giant craft. And I thought peas, obviously, right off the top of my head. I'm like, I've lived here my whole life. I used to live right over across from peas, and I'm being pretty hardcore skeptic about this stuff. I'm like, there's no way it's aliens. But then it's just like, the way it moves, man, it was just like nothing. And I went home, and you know, my mom was like, "Did you hear about something on the news?" I'm like, thinking it was alien. It had nothing to do with that, but I'm like, oh my god, they're coming to take it over. And then it turns out the next day I actually did read there was that thing in Exeter that they saw. That was that same night before. And then they had that sighting that they were talking about with a local cop saying they saw it too, because they slowed down to the point where we were going 20 on a 16, and he had said something about it too. I've been in that little group of people. Something else, man. It's documented in Foster's.
Somewhere in the mountains, I forget. I've heard about it. I've probably heard about it before, but my memory's fucking horrible.
Yeah.
But some abduction spot in the mountains off 93, 91, something like that. There's some YouTube video on it. I watched it a couple months ago. It might be like a 10-minute long little documentary thing. It
makes me so weary, you know, that whole like creepiness of when I was younger. Because for so long, like I still do. I still struggle with the idea of it. To be honest with you, I mean, science is a big, heavy-duty thing with me. You know, the world's round. Yeah. You know, it's
sure about that, because there's a lot of people that argue that
it's a donut
too.
Now.
A lot of people think it's
heard
different.
All about it, man. The donuts.
It's a big platter on a turtle's back, and oh my god.
Well, every year,
sounds like
you follow the Dark
Avatar
Tower,
stuff.
man. That's
I think every year in Exeter they do a UFO festival.
They do, yeah.
And because I know UFO for a while
I saw
there
Stanton Friedman there.
was kind of a hotbed. Yeah.
I almost went to that last year.
Yeah, well, we went one year. I took the kids. They loved it. Yeah.
It's always a you know, a cool little festival, and I mean it's cool because of course, like everything in New England, you've got the outer staters. They're like, oh, look at this wholesome little UFO fest, and these podunk fucking retards. Yeah, it's like no, and that's the way they look at you know, until you know every 4 years we're popular for presidential fuck ass season, and that's why I'm trying to get presidential candidates on the show.
There you
Just
go.
because it's like, hey, they're coming through, and we're a short little podcast. We don't have much going for us. Let's try to get them on. Let's talk about stuff.
As well.
My goal, I've got a lot of people, you know, who are, you know, middle of the aisle Trump supporters, and you know, on both sides of everything, you know, listening. You know, I try to. Geez, you know, me and Matt don't exactly get along politically, but we're good friends, and
exactly.
I think that it's the conversation that's important. People aren't divided or decided by who they vote for, and we forget that so fucking often. I forget
not the good
that.
people anyway. Some people are.
You know, right. Well, and that's the thing. I mean, I think it's hard for us to even remember that, and we all get frustrated from politics and stuff. I do too, myself, probably the worst sometimes. But I think the thing is like that's the problem.
I think my
social
unfollow
media,
list,
man.
Yeah, I think my unfollow list on Facebook is probably larger than my friends list at this point.
Right, exactly.
You just get sick of reading this stuff after
and
a while.
it's like, how much of it can you actually follow? How many of them are actually friends versus acquaintances?
Yeah.
And it's like a study says you can have like 6 close friends you can actually maintain an order with, and that's if you don't have a family. Yeah. How did you see 6 of your friends constantly?
No.
I don't.
No.
I see like the people I play music with, and like, I haven't seen you guys in a while. So it's like, it's how it goes. Yeah, it's not that
I see
you don't
my
want to make time
bandmates,
for friends and family, and
my
people.
workmates, and my girlfriend.
That's it.
That's enough.
I see my bandmates. That's about it for me.
And touche. It's enough. I mean, me and Justin have discussed this enough times to just kind of go into the fact that, you know, when you say Tigo, that's just it's very, you know, people all the time, too much.
Oh, yeah.
You can only make so many friends. We're discussing friends on Facebook. It kind of went on a tangent.
Yeah.
That's why we call this abstract transmission.
Yeah, that's all right.
So it went on a tangent. We were discussing about Facebook friends. How many of them can you actually be friends with? And there's a study that says you can be friends with like 6 people up to like 14 loose interpersonal relationships or whatever. And that's if you don't have a family. So like I was asking Scott, I was like, do you have 6 people? No, like I see, my close family. Same with you. You see a couple of people.
With my job and everything, I when I'm alone, I want to be alone. I enjoy when the band goes out and plays, but I also enjoy a Saturday or Friday night watching bad sci-fi and horror movies on the couch.
Yep.
So I'm very simplistic. I don't need. Yeah.
No, I can relate. But Justin's the same way.
Oh,
I mean,
totally.
I feel the same way too. Like. And I've always had a hard time with that. You ever get that thing? It's the awkwardness, and this is a perfect example because I know you guys know it. Being in a band, you get that. You guys are really good. You guys sounded really good, and you're like, oh, thanks, man. And I obviously appreciate the feedback, but I don't know how to take
You don't know how to
positive
react,
feedback or how to react or converse with that. And it's just like, oh, thanks. Yeah, there it is. Oh, gee, the breakfast club thing. Yeah, fucking right. Oh, gee.
But remember, for some of them, the way you should look at it is, if it was probably uncomfortable for them to approach you,
exactly,
to come up to you and approach you, that you can take a second and talk to them
and just say,
and be like, hey, thanks.
No, and that's the only thing that I've been able, because at first a couple of times I was like froze up, but then eventually I was just like, I just need to tell them exactly what I feel, and I think it was that Black Veil Brides. We played with Black Veil Brides and sometime, and that was just a interesting show. But this kid came up to me, and I think it was that moment that I was just like, I'm just gonna tell him exactly what I feel. I'm like, do you know that generally means more to me than anybody's ever said to me about my music? Genuinely, like I don't know what to say, because I genuinely, it means that. Like I've never had anybody come up to me and be like, dude, your music, man. Like basically, the short end of it. Hey, and that made me feel really good. Whether I'm like, oh, I don't know if I'm my own biggest critic, so I trash myself all the time as a musician.
So me too.
You write. That made me feel great.
You write your material, and Randy writes your material. What is it like when somebody comes up to you and says, that song that you wrote?
Yeah.
This is what I got out of it. And it's got nothing to do with what you put into it.
That's best part for me, because I personally write very abstractly.
So do I.
For that reason, because I mean, I feel very strongly about certain things, politics and all of those things, but I've always tried to leave it open for maximum interpretation, because for me, it's like I know what I'm getting out of it, and it's surely self-centered and it's like a drug. It's like snorting cocaine off a hooker, You're just like, this is all me in the moment. I don't give a fuck about anything. But the lyrics have more meaning to me. But for me, for other people, it's what they interpret it.
Yeah.
Get what you get out of it and run with that, because that's what I want you to get
that's
out of it.
That's how I like to leave it.
Leave it open for interpretation.
This is what, and sometimes I'll say, hey, this song's about
because
such
what
and such,
art isn't based on interpretation. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Well, nobody looks at anything. We can all look at the same picture and get something different out of it.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I think that's how we should look at music, and stop looking at it as like, this music sucks. I mean, granted, there's a lot of shit that I don't like, but I try hard not to be like, oh, this music is trash, because I don't necessarily agree with, certain types of music, or liking certain types of, mumble rap, for example, is not something that's my thing at all.
A lot of the top 40 stuff is, I don't like it.
I don't like it either. But the appreciation for pop music and certain things, you can appreciate some of the aspects of the art form. Where it becomes hard for me is when it becomes less about the art form and it becomes marketing, packaging, get it out, sell it, make more money. And now that they just don't have that anymore, because that whole entity is disappearing, it's shifting. There's a major shift happening. It is Hail Mary time in the music industry, and people like Post Malone don't give a shit. They're going to ride that wave to the bank, and good for them. Hey, I get it.
The music business, I find, is very scary now.
Yeah.
More than ever.
I would never try to get into it to make money, personally. I would do it because I love it, and because I don't think I could do it.
If we wanted to make money doing it, we'd have been finished doing it with Flood.
You love music.
No,
I have a friend who dresses up as a Star Wars character and does parades. He makes more money with his hobby than I make with mine. So,
bingo.
But I'm not in it
as a musician. I've always told people, you make money as a musician. Write that next cat food commercial jingle.
Yeah, writing cred.
Absolutely.
You want to make money? Start a cover band.
That's it.
Start a cover band so you make $400 for the night.
No, that's so true.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So true.
You get a solid cover band, you can make some killer money up north in the Lakes region.
We play a night, we make like maybe $50, we maybe sell some merch.
As is the original struggle, the original artist struggle.
Yeah.
But open to interpretation. Remember, that's the other thing that I think that's great, is that because our music isn't a cover, it's open to interpretation. You can go in and listen to a band you never heard before and just get this whole barrage of new art that you haven't seen. And for me, it is like kind of like a performance art thing. It's the way people look at like art as a whole. You can see art and find value in it. You can see art and find no value in it. It doesn't really matter, you know. And I think that's it for me. When I'm on stage, it's self-expression, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, sorry, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, exactly. we did what we do.
I know. I know you feel the same way, Justin, too. So
Yeah.
you said that to me.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
We're not creating the new wheel.
Yeah,
we're
no.
not.
That's it. Why try you?
We're just trying to put our own little stamp on it.
That's it.
So
We just want to do.
Yeah.
We play stuff that we would want to listen to.
Yes.
You know.
yeah, because I think that's where it's at now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you? Is there any reason to have anything else other than that? I mean, why
Otherwise you're miserable.
not? You know,
Otherwise it's just
do
misery.
what you
Why
want to
bother?
do. Yeah. I mean, I've always had the kind of like and this is true with this band and other bands. A lot of times, I didn't necessarily knew exactly what we wanted to do, but I knew we wanted to get together and write music and just kind of let it form. But I also like that aspect too, and say, hey, you know, we're just gonna form whatever music comes out of it. It comes out of it, and just let it form its own entity. You know?
I always get a kick
That's
out of
great.
when you start a new project and you go, I want to be the next Fear Factory, and then you go in the room and you sound anything but Fear Factory. So just don't label it. Get in there,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden you realize that you're not Fear Factory. You're Crowbar,
That's epic.
and you don't be mad. Don't be upset with it,
Right.
Because you might have something there.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking to
example.
start a Fear Factory type band. Well, that's already been done. And I don't know if
yeah.
I don't know if you know, but they're still doing it.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Right.
you can put your stamp on it and do it your way, but until you get in the room, you have no idea.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's
For sure.
that's
When,
not
when
true.
we started the new band, we were like, well, this is what we're shooting for, and then you get in a room with people, and you're like, that's not.
It's nothing.
That's not what we are.
You know, we
That's-
have-
so do we get mad at it, or do we just go, well, this is something?
Yeah.
So, and is that kind of what I mean? My assumption is that kind of what you guys did with this new project? You guys just kind of let it form itself, and you let the
Yeah.
music just kind of happen.
Yeah, because we've
That's
got
great.
Yeah,
we've
that's
got
why I
a
like it
guitar
so much.
player from a grindcore band. We got a guy from a metalcore band, and it's Paul Scott and I from
Yeah, yeah.
Flood. So
And
I love that.
the
That's
age differences, I mean, are I'm the oldest, and then we got guys in the late 20s. So it recover all of the age brackets.
All the
and,
aches and pains.
Yes.
and it's interesting because we are different. You
That's
know, well, you know, I don't want to be called this, and,
Oh,
and,
yeah,
and
no,
you
you
know,
guys have a unique
we're
sound.
a metal band. Well, but we can split that hair, and we can go, well, are we a grind progressive, you know,
don't have to define it.
sci-fi?
No.
I don't know. I just, if people ask, we play in a metal band.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you tell them it doesn't sound anything like Five Finger Death Punch.
and then
There it is.
everybody's happy. that
And then
way,
yeah,
so-
everybody's happy.
People are it's like good because I've seen that meme with the dildos and Johnny Knoxville, and they're like, I don't know.
If you're looking for a ballad, we're not your band.
Yeah. See, well, and I honestly, it's funny because I get that frequently, and now it's like, well, what kind of music do you play? And I'm like, well, I don't know. I guess we're kind of alternative-ish. And then they literally on the flyer just recently, alternative-ish. I'm like, all right, I can
Yeah.
go with that.
Well, we just played
But it's
Geno's
ha-
in Portland. Geno's
Yeah.
called us metalcore. And first I'm like, gross. But yeah, it is what it is, you know.
Like,
They loved us there. Like we had a really good night there. So
Yeah.
Hey, they didn't write country-ish.
exactly.
So
Yeah,
that's
I
good.
was or rap-ish, and I go, oh, well, because I mean, they're somewhat close. I don't get that wound up about it.
Yeah,
the
right.
flyer didn't say 5 douchebags from New Hampshire,
Yeah.
so you know, we did all
They
right.
changed it.
So, I mean, what would you describe your music as? And that's why I was just saying that kind of as a tongue-in-cheek thing to what we were just saying. Like, no, we were just joking about, but no, seriously, how do you describe your music?
Metal.
Metal.
It's
safe.
a little metalcore.
But
It's a little
kind of got some
deathcore.
sci-fi lyrics
It's a
kind of
little-
stuff going on in there, too. and
All my
yeah,
stuff. All my stuff. I don't know if you've seen the
Digging
movie
that.
They Live.
Yeah.
That's the basis around everything
and
that I write.
I totally get that feeling. I totally love it. I
Yeah.
absolutely
I haven't seen
dig
that yet. I need to see that.
completely.
Oh, you got to see that.
Oh, you haven't seen
The basis of the movie
oh.
is it's aliens have been here for a
many
long time, and
friends
they're
are
all in
slinging
upper
that?
government and all the upper crust of society, and there's subliminal messages in like everything, TV and science.
Is it like the sunglasses and you
Yeah.
put them on? And
Roddy Piper?
my cousin Pat was talking about Roddy Piper.
Yeah.
I definitely gotta see that.
I
So
can't
that's the
believe we
base
haven't
of
discussed this
that's the
before.
base of
Yeah.
what I write our
I gotta
songs
check
about.
that out.
Yeah, they look human.
I look at it as
That's great.
it's a metal band. It's different than what we were doing before.
Yeah,
So we're having fun.
and I wanted to kind of not do the same old, murder, kill, my ex-girlfriend sucks kind of songs. I kind of wanted to push myself a little bit and write something a little different. Yeah. And that's something that fascinates me. So I'm like, hey, you know what? That's what we're doing.
See, and I think that's great to be able to just kind of find what's the word I'm looking for? A muse, not a muse, but a substantive kind of theme, but not even just like a channel where you're taking that and it's creating itself. And I think that it's very similar. We were talking about your writing. He writes.
Yeah.
We didn't really address this until just recently in his life. I don't know why, because I read a lot. You should hear some of his writing, because I know you read Stephen King, and his descriptiveness is very similar of that, obviously without the years of writing experience, but it's very impressive. And I told him he should really pursue this more. But it was just like stream of consciousness kind of just produces itself, it forms itself. Almost like it has its own mind. And I feel like some of the most interesting stuff happens. You wonder how much of, like seancing in the past and stuff is from this mind, the state of mind that people are able to do this with. I think this is a real part of the human brain that we're going to find that is something that isn't really something that you can mimic necessarily. I don't know. They're finding AI can replace just about absolutely everything now.
But there's so much of the brain that's untapped. There's so much of the brain that just is...
That is it, yeah.
There.
That may just be for interfacing.
Could be.
Damn good question.
On that note,
projecting into the Matrix.
Let's take a quick break and do the bathroom thing, and this is the part of the thing where we do the self, marketing. Gotta advertise.
Rice Krispies.
And we'll be right back. As a lifelong fan of Stephen King and the Dark Tower, I wanted to tell you about Katet19.net. Katet 19 isn't just t-shirts with some cliche Pennywise screen print. This stuff is made with the aspiration to create not only great apparel inspired by Stephen King and the Dark Tower, but also a lifestyle brand and a sense of community. Katet 19 is the go-to shop for die-hard constant readers of Stephen King, but also a great gift for that bibliophile in the family. These guys always deliver the very best quality products, and you can't beat these prices, the styles, and designs. You gotta check them out. If you go on, use coupon code ABSTRACTTRANSMISSIONS, and you'll get 15% off your next full order of $50 or over. Again, that's KA-TET19.net. Katet19.net for all your Stephen King and Dark Tower apparel needs. Check them out, guys. So we're back. We had a little bit of a technical difficulty. Power went out, and we lost a little portion of the thing there. We got boned. Yeah, we're really upset. We had some good conversations, and no one's ever
Power
going to hear.
company's trying to hold us back.
They're holding it. That's it. That's it.
Sticking it to the man.
That's it. They heard about my switch to Mega Energy, and Eversource was pissed. Not around here, though.
We were just talking about Stephen King.
Yeah,
so, because of our relationship with the guys with Katet 19 making some really awesome merchandise for Stephen King movies and the Dark Tower and books and whatnot. They're really fantastic. We got into the discussion of Randy starting to read It, which is an awesome novel to start.
Yeah, I haven't got very far into it, but like I said, when I was ill, a bunch of people gifted me Stephen King books that they had read. And I probably have 15 books that I've not gotten into, and I don't know, I just wanted to get into something, and I'm like, the new second half of it is coming out.
Yeah.
I'll dive into the book,
So here I am.
So
I'm watching just the movies.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
that's basically what I've done. I haven't listened to or read any.
Yeah.
Right. So I hadn't previously. I had started to read. I'd read it partially when I was younger, but I was a lot younger, and I don't know how much of it I actually absorbed. Mm-hmm. And I've gone back, and audiobooks have been a big thing. When I started working with Samsung as a field sales manager, as a rep, it was lots of road time, lots of audiobooks, and then that just translated to I love audiobooks more because I'm absorbing more of the story than when I'm reading it. A lot of times for me, and I have ADD, so it's hard for me to get. I lose track, and I'll read an entire page and lose, major learning disability there when it comes to absorbing info. So it's become really just phenomenal, and I got into it. And I read that again, and going through that whole thing, listening to it, that novel's phenomenal. It really is just unbelievable how well that story does. But it brought me back to thinking about all the original.
Oh yeah, because I've started to go back, and we just watched Silver Bullet.
Nice.
Oh yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, and as a matter of fact, it came up on one of our shows. We started talking about rock salt.
Oh yeah.
One of the guys said, if that person, is breaking into our house, I'm going to fill his ass full of rock salt.
Oh, yeah.
So I went on the air and I'm like, what is rock salt? People, we had listeners call in and going, I got shot with rock salt.
Yeah.
And so I was like, oh my God. And it turned into a whole conversation.
Absolutely.
So we've been going back and me and my girlfriend and just like once a week finding something old Stephen King that I haven't seen in a long time and just watching it again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
And seriously, some of those, and it's funny too because I grew up not necessarily reading any of the books, and I always grew up on the movies because they were translating movies.
Yeah.
Like, it's a Stephen King movie, and I'm like, and it's funny because it wasn't necessarily something he directed; it was adaptations.
Yeah.
And a lot
They're
of them
usually
take a
pretty
lot of
poor
liberalities
compared to the book. Yeah.
But
the movies are nothing compared to the book. I went to a spoken word show he did in Boston. in Portsmouth a few years ago, and he just said, when somebody drives a bucket load of money and dumps it in your front lawn,
yeah.
sure. He's like, what am I going to say no to this? His books are amazing. And his movies, he said, I make okay movies.
Right.
The books are better.
I got sucked into his writing, and I literally, the thing that got me sucked in was Dark Tower specifically. So I started with Gunslinger, and that whole story with Roland and the cyclical value of it is just crazy.
Girl almost got named Oi.
Oh, really?
Almost.
Oh man, so I was thinking about, I really, really, really like Oi is like one of my favorite characters, obviously. The Billy Bumbler is just I can't yet to find one on Etsy or whatever that's a good quality stuffed one, just a little stuffed Billy Bumbler.
That'd be awesome.
Bumbler.
Yeah.
I totally, one of my favorite characters, and I was so disappointed with the movie that came out.
I wanted to like it.
Me too, man, because it wasn't, I just saw a good actor. I see him as Charles Miner from The Office, so that was kind of hard for me. But I was like, I can take that. I can go with the whole direction, even though they cut out Eddie and Susanna and that whole thing. And
well, it was supposed to be
the second time
another
around.
cycle around, so
yeah,
I accepted all that.
Me too.
I sat until I was expecting an after credit scene. I sat till the very end. All the lights came up in the theater. I'm like,
but they just
I don't know.
They just threw all the source material right out the window. It was just complete hot trash fire.
Yeah,
it was ruined, and I was like, it sucked because I think he did a good job trying to act, but he didn't. He's not a. I think they would have been better with a method actor.
Well, you're also
somebody who really read the book and really tried to adapt to the character too, because that's a character. That's a big character. That's a substantive character. That has so many levels and facets. It's just very complex. So
yeah, because you're only given what the script gives you. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Unless, like you said, unless you're really big on the source material.
But I can blame Matthew McConaughey. I love Matthew McConaughey in certain things, but in that, no, he's not the Man in Black, and fuck you.
Should have been
so
Patrick
if he's
Stewart.
listening to this, which he never will.
Should have been Patrick Stewart.
Should have been Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart as the Man in Black.
Wow, that'd be interesting.
Right?
I just saw. You know what?
I just Jamie Sheridan from The Stand, because that's the same character. It's the same guy.
Yeah,
so
true,
I always think of Jamie Sheridan from The Stand,
and then the tie-in
because of the Dark Tower. So I'm like, it's him.
You just brought up
That's who I
Patrick Stewart, Captain Picard. There is a new Star Trek.
Yes,
Picard.
there is.
Saw the trailer for it today.
I haven't seen the trailer.
Yeah, he's running a winery, and it's in the future, and they need him, so they're calling him back up to
Wow.
Starfleet.
Oh, boy.
I was like, oh my god,
Dude, awesome. That's great.
I haven't seen the trailer. I gotta check that out.
Is it gonna be like, you know, he's
I think it's
trying
a new
to escape the Starfleet and they find him in like Calcutta? No,
I think he's somewhere and he's making a Picard wine.
Yeah.
And they
So
Starfleet needs him. So. But
That's
I mean, if you
wild.
see
I
the new series, I love Star Trek Discovery. I think that's been really good. So this should be
I haven't
interesting.
watched it yet,
Yep.
and I heard it was really good. I should give it some time.
The
But
big question
there's so many
is-
things.
Is Wesley back? Will Wheaton?
I don't know.
yeah,
He
yeah.
should be. Yeah.
That's the real question. I love how that's the real question.
Yeah.
It's, Wesley is the ensign back. Yeah.
Will Wheaton.
Because you got to hear him say, "Shut up, Wesley." At least
John
once.
Wesley. Yeah. Yes, almost slap him. Yeah. So I think that the direction that they've gone recently with Star Trek was kind of a little concerning, but I like that they can always use time travel to undo any type
They
of
can do that with
writing
anything.
they
Absolutely.
don't want.
The work
It's
of
like
the,
an Deus Ex Machina for the new generation.
Yeah.
It's
worked
the same
with the
thing,
X-Men
you know?
movies.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Kind of worked with the X-Men movies.
Oh yeah, and with Deadpool,
Yeah.
and he just takes even a farther
Exactly.
liberal control with it. But it's okay because it's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Brand new.
Cleaning
again.
up the timeline in
Fucking
the end.
gold.
That is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. Just cleaning up the timeline. Perfect. Thank you for that. It's like, did Disney pay a little extra for that? Because I know that their next goal is obviously X-Force, and that's going to be PG-13. They don't need to make a rated R Deadpool anymore. They got that out of the way. They didn't have to put their name on it.
That's
Somebody
true.
do the dirty work
Yeah.
first, and now they can just reap in all the other. You can just sit and
'Cause everybody's
suckle
gonna
on
see
the
it no
teeth of
matter
that
what,
for as
and-
long as they want.
Doesn't matter if it's good or bad. 50% of the people are gonna bitch about it on the internet anyway. So
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, absolutely. I think that but that's the thing. It's good. It's one of the. Well, there's the lights coming on next door. It looked good for them.
There we
They
go.
got their power back.
Yeah,
That's the
they
one.
got their power back. Like they took over.
You got your power back.
You got your power
Feel
back.
the power. Feel
You
the
guys,
pain.
you guys like mixing mashed potatoes and electric mixers. Like fuck yeah.
My pizza only had one more minute.
The son of a bitch.
I got the power back.
Trying to retain the heat inside his shitty oven. Welcome to Tangent Central here at fucking Abstract Transmissions, where we can talk about one conversation that spiderwebs into 15 different conversations.
Power outages and regaining the powers.
Yeah, dude, it sucked. We were talking about earlier, and we should discuss this again, the discussion about Recognizer, that show. We were talking about when I was younger, I saw Recognizer, Spine Shank. And,
Oh yes, I remember that. That was probably one of my first big shows.
Friggin' phenomenal, man. And it was just crazy because I remember going back to that, how fucking formative that was for me. Not to carbon copy the whole thing, but I didn't really go into like. Just remember so much like being super fucking stoned. I bought a bunch of blunts with me and fucking snuck them in. I thought it was the coolest fucking thing 'cause I had blue hair. Didn't think about the fact I was gonna get soaked by whatever was fucking sprayed all over me, and that would turn into blue dye. And I was wearing a white shirt with blue hair. And
They cut our set to give Spine Shank more time, and then they put us on 5 or 10 minutes before they open the door. So they're like, "Start." We're like, "Okay, there's nobody here yet. There's nobody here. They're coming. And they opened up the gate, and everybody came in.
It just flooded right in.
Yeah,
Dude, I remember, and that was such a good set too. I was totally like blown away by that, and I was like, "You guys are awesome!" I'm like all about this, and I just remember that show being like one of the second or third shows I ever went to. I was 16 years old, and I just remember smoking a blunt, walking, and there's cops, and I'm like, they looked at me, and I looked at them, and they're like. Damn it! And I fucking moved, and I fucking ran and running, and I just remember running, and I'm fat as fuck. I've always have been, and I'm running, and I fucking into the crowd of people, and of course I'm running with a blunt, so they just accept me. I just kind of like meld into the gel, but then the cops are just like into it like a wall, or they're fucking not getting through. It just solidifies, and I'm just like, suckers can't get me, fucker. Yeah, good times. And then I got the shit beat out of me. Being a fucking face first in the mud, fucking kicked in the balls accidentally. who thought it was a good idea to wear 60-inch fucking Jenko pants. Real Bravo idea back in the fucking late 90s, early 2000s. It's like, let's go into, we're alternative. We're going to wear the biggest fucking skirt jeans you ever saw in the middle of a fucking mosh pit covered in mud and other people with skirt jeans. And everybody's crammed in together like a tuna can, and they're going to rip everybody's fucking skirt jeans apart. That's because what they look like when they're all close together. 80-inch Jenkos. Looked like a giant skirt dress.
I remember those. I didn't have them, but I remember. Yeah,
I never get into.
I didn't wear them.
When you're short like me, you don't wear stuff like that.
That would eventually get destroyed.
I dabbled.
I remember the oven mitt pants, Justin.
Oh, the oven mitt pants. Jesus, they're like silver oven mitts, like this metallic fucking oven pants.
The oven mitt pants.
And they're like, they weren't like kickwear, but they were like, this wide. It's still fucking ridiculous.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
I think that there's a more simple. Hey, would you like some more of this?
No, I'm good. Thanks.
So I think the time for marketing that stuff, they hit it just right.
Oh yeah. I think I did hear they're coming back, but I don't know.
It's all nostalgia now.
Yeah.
That's the whole goal. We were talking about Star Wars. I don't know if that part got recorded earlier.
I think that was before.
That was before. Good, yeah. So the whole thing about like Star Wars running off of nostalgia, they're doing the same thing in almost every facet.
Oh yeah.
We're all 30 plus.
Music,
40,
80s revival
our generation.
music is huge now.
Yeah, they want to bring it back.
Yeah.
And they want to rape the fuck out of it. That's what they're going to do. They'll do everything that we love, and they'll rape the fuck out of it right in front of us while it's bleeding. And we cry, and they say, no, we're not going to stop. We're going to fucking continue to fuck it right in front of you. No, I don't care, but it's true. It's seriously, I really think that's what it is, though. They take something that you love, and then they do it over and over and over and over and over and over and over and
because
over
everybody
until you don't fucking love it anymore.
And then the kids are going to get into it because it's new for them,
and they think they can just do that forever, and it's not how that works. I mean, that's not how marketing works. Not everybody's going to buy the same thing for forever.
Yeah,
no.
That's a problem with
some things just suck right from the
you
start.
You have fads.
Right, it sucked the first time it came through. We don't need it the second time.
What's a dress? Can we have a short list?
Yeah.
I can think of a few things that sucked right from the start. Let's see. Right off the top. Things that just don't make any sense. Just terrible fucking ideas. Like the geniuses that came up with what was that fucking terrible show on MTV? Was it Singled Out? I think that was a really bad idea. Just think about that. That paved a way for a whole bunch of other shitty ideas and dating shows and reality.
All shitty ideas now.
But I think about the wave of shit that brought everything. 16
and pregnant. Hey, there's an idea.
Oof, there we go. That's another one. Made
Throw
tons
that
of
up
money.
there, absolutely.
Yeah, but Jesus Christ.
Long lists of bad
I liked
ideas.
Syphil and Ollie.
Yeah,
like
dude,
98, 99, the two sock puppets.
Did you ever experience Syphil and Ollie?
I think so.
Yeah, that was genius, man. I mean, that was fucking great.
That was pretty funny.
What year did you say?
I think like 97 to 99.
Yeah, that's what
I
think right around Liquid Television, like.
Oh yeah, Liquid. Yep.
Well, I think there was a lack of people at the studios because they were doing the spring break thing, and there were people, probably AV nerds left behind, fucking making. Did you go? Well, we'll air this.
Yeah, that's pretty much.
That stuff was great.
Mm-hmm.
Good times.
So we were discussing briefly about music. We shouldn't lose that portion of it, even if it's just the abridged version of what we were discussing earlier. A little bit about kind of the local music portion. I don't know how much of that we got. Was that in the first portion or in the second?
Second
I think that's what got wiped.
Yeah.
So
So basically what we said was go to clubs, support bands, but behave yourselves. Because stop going to the metal shows and acting crazy because they're going to stop having metal shows.
So go to the bathroom and draw on the fucking walls.
Yeah.
Don't smash things because then your venues are going to
don't
close.
break your the walls out back.
And then we don't have a place to play.
Yeah.
You know who you are, people out there.
We may sound like old men, but we know what we're talking about.
No, we're just being straightforward. Don't be a dick.
Because we want to keep playing these places.
Well, that's the thing too. I mean,
people still want to have good times.
It's so hard. Do you know how many times I had to fight and try to to get things to happen? Say at the perfect example, the fucking Rochester Opera House. I love you, Anthony. But you know, for the love of God, it's like it was
Shuffle. What is it?
The Shuffle Blues. It was a blast.
Yes.
But getting something in there, making that work, was tough. We went in there, but then it's like, oh, you're not going to do this for local bands again, but you're worried about that floor, which makes sense. But they're going to bring in ICP. It's like, that's a fucking
root beer
soda all over the fucking floor. This 500-year-old floor that's still in working condition. It sounds like a genius idea. Let's just have ICP spray the floor soda all over the floor. You know, like what the
Florida soda.
Florida soda.
Florida soda. All
It
over
is
the floor.
in Florida. Fago.
Florida sodas. Florida.
But seriously, like I just think that it sucks because venues like that could be a staple
That'd be great.
for multiple aspects. But
When
I
we
think that there's
played there, that was
restrictions
awesome.
because that was great, and I wish that we could make it happen again. But I think that they have this idea of how they want to make things work, and there's a high cost to operate it too.
Yeah.
So if you got the overhead, I'm sure like that's the other thing too. Like if I could dish out just some money for a higher overhead to rent the place or whatever, I'm sure that there's things that could be done too.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a matter of making it all work, which makes sense. I mean, it's
So support
also-
local music. Behave yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't
get
put
back
us
to
out of
this-
business.
yeah, that's it. I mean, we've got to be there for the other musicians, and I was saying, previously, like it's great to support local music, but you can't always get out there to shows. And any ways that you can, I was saying like the Facebook thing earlier, Facebook events. Click as going, even if you're not actually going. It actually is more beneficial than detrimental. Little things like that helps generate interest and likes into that. Unless it's your friend's local barbecue.
Yeah.
And then they probably
Still, that's good, too.
They
Just
really need an RSVP.
Throw on another leg. I'll be there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, but some generated hype I'm psyched about would be this summer. I've heard a lot of good things about bands releasing albums. What'd you guys hear?
Oh, all sorts of good stuff coming out this
Cattle
summer.
Decapitation. I
Yep.
heard.
Yes.
That's gonna be fucking epic.
Yes.
These guys are awesome.
Pathology, another band that I'm into. Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
Right.
I have a list. They know me by first name at Bull Moose. Matter of fact, they should just give me a key to the register.
Yeah.
Yep.
You heard that.
I'll order this.
Almost.
I'm gonna order that. I'm gonna order this. It'll be here.
Yes, Scania, key to the register.
Yeah.
They know you because they can't repeat half the
Yes.
bands you go in.
They
there
just
and-
call now my cell phone and they go, "Your CD's in."
Your CDs.
I don't want to say this.
Excuse me, what CD was that? I can't say that.
I don't want to say this. I'm not
say this
going to
out
say
loud.
this.
Serious.
So your CD's in. Yeah.
Awesome.
Now,
Yeah, no, I think the
if you like a band, buy their stuff, support them. I do a metal show. I don't get half as much sent to me as I used to. Last year, I spent $3,100 on buying CDs from a metal show because it's important to me to support the bands.
Yeah.
And if you like it, support them.
that's
You know.
huge.
Yeah, I play it. I listen to it. I love it. So
That's awesome.
that was just 1 year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. I mean, anytime I can, I always try to get a shirt. Like I'm wearing a shirt right now, Juggernaut. We played.
Nice.
I played briefly with Where They Hide, and during that time, we played with them.
Oh yeah.
Got one of their
Support
shirts.
your bands.
Yeah,
Yep.
seriously.
It's like we just played 2 shows with the band Ruin from Portland. The last weekend we just played at the Brick House with them. Our bass player Paul bought a shirt, wore it up on stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's huge because you can't always get out there at every show, but when you can, make it where it counts. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
go on to find out instead of buying it on this platform. Find out whatever's going to give the most revenue, generate the most revenue.
And
to the
but
band.
still make CDs, okay?
make CDs.
And this is the old
sure.
me saying to the young people, still make CDs because I'm sick and tired of a band that I really, really like that doesn't have a CD. I want a CD. You can go
Yep.
download it. I want a CD. I want to listen to it the way you should listen to it. In your car, driving down the highway or going somewhere.
That's
I
it.
want to listen to it.
That's it.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. As you can see, I have VHS, and under here is all freaking CDs.
Yeah.
So.
No,
VHSs.
you make CDs, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We've
completely
been
agree.
asked that at least I have been asked that at least a dozen times.
Oh,
Just
yeah.
at the last show.
Yeah.
When are you guys putting out that CD? When are you guys going to have an EP out?
I know.
We're working on it. We're
I
working
know.
on it.
So,
See, with us,
hopefully
it's
soon.
like With us, it's like.
But I agree.
He'll get
It's
into
nice to have
record.
that because we even did like the drop card thing for a little bit, but we also tried to have CDs because the drop card thing was convenient. You just give it out to people and they can QR it, and of course
it keeps our costs down too.
CDs though, that's right. Bingo.
So if you only have 2 songs, it's way more cost effective to just throw it on Bandcamp like we do.
Yep.
And
then just have
when we have
easy
5 of them
QR,
recorded or so, then we'll put out like a physical copy. But that's.
Well, and that's it. I mean, I think that there's not enough of that, kind of attitude towards, I'm going to buy something and listen to it and then listen to the whole thing. Either. So much of like and it's always been singles, but as time has gone on and we've gone away from the album buying and into the SoundCloud generation that you've got playlists and stuff, you have songs individually, you don't have albums that you listen to. I've always been the proponent of like I buy it and then I listen to an album. And granted, I haven't for a while because it's like it's been tough for me to get super excited about new bands that I haven't already listened to and stuff. And I try to obviously do that, and it's usually from playing a show or or seeing a live show or something like that.
Even me, it's like I'll go. I admit, like most of the time, I'll buy my stuff on iTunes, but I buy the whole album on iTunes, not just like 2 or 3 songs that I know I like. I'll buy the whole album, whatever.
Right.
Yeah,
I did that for was it Death Ray Vision and
yes,
and
we played with them a little while back.
Yeah.
And, Swarm of Eyes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Randy and the Boys.
Yeah. They're great. I think they're great band. And it's always when it's like, oh well, there's material on there. Yeah, I could go on YouTube, but why not just get on?
Yeah.
Just
on there.
Yeah, spend the $10.
Can't do it. Yeah, I can't always do it. Spend a lot of time, especially lately with job changes and all that stuff. Like it's been incredibly tight, but like I will always try to. Try to do that in any way, shape, or form. But there's out of the box ways to help bands and stuff. You don't have to necessarily support local bands only by showing up. Of course, that's always a plus. But if you can't do it because you got kids,
repost their stuff online. Like people have been reposting our single online. It's crazy. It's mind blowing.
Literally how the president of the United States got elected. Really was viral. He's a viral president. He really was in a lot of ways. We won't go too much into politics. That stuff.
I'm stepping back.
Yeah. No, I heard that, but I think in a lot of aspects, he just kind of happened. He was a product of a lot of clicking, reposting. People aren't reading stuff, or they are, but it's not real, or whatever it is. It's just that a lot of that back and forth. Isn't I think it's going to happen even more so this year, but I think it'll probably happen in a positive way. That's why I'm for that Yang guy. I don't know. I like the guy who's against the robots. Everybody's like, robots? Yeah, I'm scared of robots. I've been scared of robots forever. Who's this guy? He fits all the nerd expectations from
I'm all about the Rise of the Machines, Skynet, and all that.
Yeah, dude, some scary stuff.
New Terminator trailer. Did you see that?
Dude, I saw it. Oh yeah. Speaking of Rising of the Machines, boy,
good.
We will see. We will see.
Why are they getting old? That's how I don't get.
Yeah.
Well, they explained that in Genesis because it's human tissue. So the human tissue ages.
Old. Yeah, that's true. I remember that. And then the new versions of them, when they're produced, look like Arnold did younger. And okay, that makes sense. I totally
good
forgot
stuff.
About that. Yeah. Man, so much continuity to keep track of.
I love
so many different dork continuities in my brain.
Exactly.
I got Star Wars, Game of Thrones.
Good stuff.
Man.
Terminator is probably one of my favorite series. I mean, not all the movies are great, but I just love the concept.
Yeah, for sure. Super. So, I really appreciate you guys coming on the show today.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks for coming by.
Absolutely.
Sorry, the first part of it got kind of a little short.
That kind of sucks, but whatever.
But we got to get into some of the, the more in-depth stuff, and look forward to hearing some more of the material and hearing some more music from you guys, and maybe even playing the show together if we can do something like that Shufflepalooza a while back.
That would be fantastic. Because the way I look at it is when you book a local metal show now, it's like an Oz Fest.
Yeah.
You may hear a band that sounds like Typo. You may hear a band that sounds like Crowbar. You may hear a band that sounds like Ozzy. So, I look at it as when we book a show, all the bands are heavy.
Yeah.
It may be death metal. It may be progressive.
Right.
It may be old school thrash, but you're getting a metal show. So I like to play with as many metal bands as we can, and you're going to get a variety.
Yeah. No, I think that's
it's like
huge.
that cereal pack you got as a kid.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes,
cereal
absolutely,
thing. You know,
man.
you got your fruity,
Yes.
you got your rings, you got a little bit of everything
That's
on the
perfect.
shelf. But you got your breakfast.
And the last one you eat is the
Absolutely.
corn pops.
That's right. So, but thank you for
guys
having
for
us.
coming on, talking about aliens, music, and everything.
Yeah,
And
it's been great,
we'll probably do this again real soon if we can.
Definitely.
I'd love to.
It'd be great to
think
have you
this
guys
is
over
This
again.
has been
Absolutely.
a great opportunity, and as time moves on, we aim to do it as much as possible. So.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for
again, guys.
having us.
Thank you.
Yes.
Take it.